Welcome back. I hope you are learning a lot about the military medicine match. And today's episode, we are going to talk a little bit about the route that I chose. Well, kind of, let's face it, as a flight surgeon, there's two things that we like talking about. We like talking about airplanes and we like talking about ourselves. We learn it from the pilots. But I'm going to talk about my experiences because I tried to learn as much as I could about the different options. From the get go, I actually knew that I wanted to do a transitional year. What is a transitional year, you ask? A transitional year is basically third year of med school all over again, but this time you are a doctor. This time you are the ones writing the orders, writing the notes, and ultimately responsible for the patients. Ultimately, I knew I was going to be a flight surgeon because my desired specialty is not available for active duty Air Force physicians. As a flight surgeon, we can do so many things. Stay tuned for a future video about what a flight surgeon does and some of the crazy experiences that I've had. This one will be coming out at a more delayed later date. But stay tuned, all the more reason to go ahead and subscribe. Plus, you never know what the content I might come up with in the meantime while we're awaiting that. But as I said, flight surgeon's duties can be extremely varied, and I wanted to be prepared that I could do whatever I needed to do. A transitional year, my transitional year was a civilian program associated with a rural family medicine residency. I did plenty of time in the hospitals, I believe 5 months overall on internal medicine, taking care of patients. I did some surgery times. I had multiple electives, of which during that time I took advantage and did a sports medicine rotation. I did a women's health and college medicine rotation. The residency program that I was with actually did the college health for a local liberal arts college. And that was fantastic because most of my patients' age is about 19 to about 35. And college medicine has some similarities. My program did not specifically have a pediatrics and an OBGYN rotation. However, when we were on call nights and weekends in the hospital, we did take care of peds and OB. I feel like it was a very well-rounded program and really did good for preparing me to do this. And another thing that I really liked is we had a weekly continuity clinic. So every day or every week, I would have one half day in the family medicine clinic in an outpatient setting where I was taking care of patients. I had patients impaneled to me where I was responsible for them. Jump ahead to currently now, I have my own empanelment of patients that I am responsible for. Even if one of my fellow flight docs sees the patient and sends them off for other lab tests or radiology referring off base to a specialist, the note comes back to me. And it really prepared me for being in this type of primary care setting. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. And so ultimately, I will admit that I'm biased. I think transitional years are the best because in flight medicine, we do a little bit of everything. We primarily are primary care docs, and we need to know how to do the clinic aspect. So anything that has a family medicine or an ambulatory internal medicine thing is absolutely fantastic. But hey, some of my patients are female, so it was great to have the women's health. It was good to have some of the surgery background so that when cuts happen, I'm not going to say why cuts happen, but cuts definitely happen with this population, able to suture things up, able to do a few simple procedures here and there. I think that it is fantastic that way. A surgery prelim year, you are basically a surgical intern. The unfortunate thing is that you do not fully belong to their team. And so, from what I hear, this is all rumors, what I've heard is sometimes people, as surgical prelims, tend to get more of the scut work and they don't take as much time to give them the procedures and give them some of the different experiences just because they're not going to be there next year. So why spend the time teaching them some of these other procedures? And I hear the same thing with the internal medicine. Both of those, your primary duties are going to be surgery or internal medicine, working as the intern. Yes, some of them will have electives. Each program has its own different amount of electives. The advice that I was given when I asked was do a transitional year so that you have much more freedom and have much more clinic base. And then on your surgery, if you've got to do surgery, try to take as many electives in either internal medicine or family medicine. And if you've got to do internal medicine, try to take as many electives in surgery as possible, just so you get a wider range and variety. As I said, I ultimately decided on civilian. As I've mentioned in the previous episodes, my ultimate dream is to do physical medicine and rehabilitation. I chose a transitional year that was at a rural, unopposed family medicine residency. So it was only the family medicine residency at this rural hospital, but they were within a larger system that included a PM&R residency. And one of those electives I didn't mention earlier, I went to the main campus and I spent a month in the PM&R department. There I was able to network. I was able to arrange for letters of recommendation, and I really hope that it works out well for me this match year. But ultimately, that was what was right for me because I had a plan, I had a dream from the beginning, and this was working towards the end goal. That's how I did it. I have also known people that want to do psych, for example, or want to do anesthesia. They end up getting an intern year deferred. And what they end up doing is they end up matching to an anesthesia program or a psych program in the civilian side, with the caveat of, I'm here for your intern year, guaranteed. But I'm not 100% certain whether or not they will let me stick around next year. They go ahead and they apply for some of those PGY2 advanced spots, hoping that they're going to be able to go ahead and stay in them. Great if it works out. If it doesn't work out, that's unfortunate. I really hope that they're clear in the beginning and that it doesn't burn any bridges. If it doesn't work out and bridges weren't burnt, I would imagine that that would be fantastic for after the military service commitment is up on being able to resume within the program. It's definitely an option. I don't think I would fully endorse it, but it's definitely an option and something to think about if that presents itself. I do want to present a reminder to everybody. It doesn't matter if you are an internal medicine prelim year, transitional year, neurosurgery resident. Everybody in the military is supposed to get a full unrestricted medical license by the end of their intern year. In the past, I haven't heard anything of this since I have been in, but in the past, they have pulled people out of their first year of residency and slipped them out into flight surgeon spots. And in order to work, you need to have your medical license. So it is actually a requirement on the contract that you get licensed in a state by the end of your intern year. It doesn't have to be the state that you're practicing in. It doesn't have to be the state that you hope to be stationed in. I chose Indiana because it was $200 and they were really fast at processing things. Other people will choose states of residency programs that they're interested in. I've heard that one. Others choose their home state so that they're able to go back and moonlight and make a little extra money while on vacation. Definitely things to think about, but it has to be done by the end of your intern year, whether you are just an intern or whether you're going to be around for quite a while. Hopefully, you got an understanding today about the differences of the intern years. Feel free to reach out to me, but I can tell you transitional years are at Travis or at San Antonio. You will see a couple others scattered across the HPERB, but those are actually for the preliminary years or the transitional years associated with radiology. Even though they're in San Diego, it would be fantastic, but that's for the person that's doing radiology in San Diego. So really, I hope that you learned something. Please go ahead and subscribe, share this with your friends. Just try to get this word out because this is a very tricky and complicated time. And have a great day. Thanks. The things that I'm saying are my opinion and do not represent the official position of the U.S. Air Force, U.S. Department of Defense, Defense Health Agency, or U.S. government. Thank you for joining us on Musculoskeletal Minute. We have your back. Please remember that this is for education and does not constitute medical advice. Please subscribe, leave us a positive review, and share with your friends.